what's up? When I was in Japan last year, karaage, or Japanese style fried chicken, was one of the best bites that I ate the entire trip. And I ate raw whale sashimi when I was there, so that's saying something. Compared to the American or Korean style fried chickens, karaage is light, umami packed, and its crispiness hits different. It's more brittle and effervescent. So today I'm gonna show you guys the uniquely Japanese process and the weird but easy to get ingredient that it takes to recreate this delicious plate of fried chicken at home. To get started, I'll grab 2 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken thighs and cut them down into 4 equal-sized pieces that are about 1.5 inches across. In Japan, the fried chicken is served a little bit more bite-sized than it is in the other 2 big fried chicken countries, Korea or the US. The benefit here is that there's more surface area, which means that there's more breading, which means there's more crunch per square inch. And once I've got all 6 of these thighs cut into 4 pieces, I'll slide this chicken into a medium bowl, then grab a knob of ginger and my microplane, then I'll grate in roughly 10 grams worth, or about a tablespoon. Notice that I didn't peel the ginger. As I've said before, if you're grating the ginger on a rasp grater like I am here, there's no need to peel it. The peel has no flavor and it isn't any more fibrous than the root itself. Next, I'll use this microplane yet again to grate in 4 to 5 cloves of garlic, or about 10 grams worth. Then I'll add in 20 grams of soy sauce, 5 grams of sesame oil, 20 grams of mirin, 20 grams of sake, or white wine, then 8 grams of salt, 30 grams of cornstarch, and 3 grams of MSG. Monosodium glutamate is similar to salt in that it enhances flavors, or more specifically for MSG, it dilates your taste buds and makes things taste more like themselves. In this context, the MSG is going to amplify the chickeny-ness of the meat while also turning up the volume on the sweet, salty marinade. If you're anti-MSG or you don't want to go out of your way to track it down, this recipe is still good without it. It's just that the MSG adds that extra 5% of special. Once this chicken is all coated up, I'm going to move this bowl over to my fridge to marinate for at least 30 minutes. While that soaks, I'm going to make the spicy, umami-packed mayonnaise that will serve alongside it. To make it into a bowl, I'll squirt 200 grams of Kewpie mayonnaise. What makes Kewpie special is that it has MSG and extra egg yolks in it, so it's super umami and super creamy compared to reg mayo. Next, in goes 10 grams of seasoned rice vinegar and then 5 grams of togarashi. Togarashi is Japanese chili powder, basically, and if you don't have any, paprika would be a fine sub. Finally, I'll add in about 10 grams of chili oil. This will give the mayonnaise a vibrant, fruity spice that you just can't get from hot sauce alone. To finish this sauce, I'll just give everything a quick stir until it's combined. And if you don't have any of this Japanese stuff in your pantry, don't sweat it. Just mix reg mayo and sriracha. No, it won't be exactly what you can get in Japan, but it'll still taste pretty good. After 30 minutes of marination, I'm gonna pull this chicken out of the fridge so I can dredge it up. Then I'll grab a heavy bottom pot and drop it on the stove and fill it up about halfway with canola oil. In total, I'm using about 2 quarts here. Now, while that gets hot, I'm gonna quickly thank Element for sponsoring this video. Element is a drink mix that packs a meaningful dose of electrolytes without sugar, artificial colors, or other shady ingredients. Keeping your electrolyte levels dialed up helps with things like maintaining steady energy throughout the day, staving off headaches and muscle cramps, and also getting better sleep. But I'm not asking you guys to listen to me, internet chef Brian Lagerstrom, for health advice. Instead, you can take it from the neuroscientists, health experts, and professional athletes who use Element every day as part of their hydration routines. As a chef, what I can confidently comment on is the flavor, which is dope. And by the way, if you're wondering which flavor pairs best with karaage, it's watermelon. It's so good. God, watermelon. If you want to give it a try, right now Element is giving away a free 8 flavor sample pack with any drink mix order when you use my link in the description below. Plus, if you give it a try and you don't like it, they'll refund your order, no questions asked. Again, the link is in the description. Thank you, Element. Next, I'll need to dredge up this marinated chicken. To figure out what coating was the crispiest, I actually tried 4 different options. The first was all-purpose flour.
That's not crispy at all. I mean, it tastes good, but there is no texture.
Next was cornstarch.
It's a little bit crispy, but it's also soft and kind of starchy.
Behind that was a 50-50 blend of potato starch and all-purpose flour.
This combination is very chicken McNugget-like. Like, it is crispy, but it's also kind of soft.
And then finally, 100% potato starch.
Oh, wow. 100% potato is the crispiest by far. And it's like an enduring crispness. This has been sitting here for like 10 minutes and it's still very, very crunchy.
Potato starch actually has a few interesting qualities that make it particularly good for fried chicken. The first is that it takes forever to get brown, so you can fry it for longer. Longer fry times mean crispier breading. The other is that potato starch is extremely absorbent, so any resting juices that leak out of the cooked chicken don't sog up the crust. Now to bread this chicken, I'm gonna shake about a pound's worth of potato starch, or about 500 grams, into a medium bowl. Then I'll grab a spray bottle and add in 30-ish sprays of water, maybe about 3 to 4 tablespoons. Once that's moistened, I'll jump in with my hands and toss to combine while making sure to crumble down any large clods of hydrated starch as I go. Adding moisture here changes the texture of this starch from bone-dry powder into more of a lumpy, wet snow. This helps a lot more starch stick to the outside of the chicken, and it allows the dredge to be compressed into little craggy bits. That's important because those stick to the chicken and crisp up super nice in the fryer. Next, I'm gonna add in half of my marinated chicken and then jump in the bowl and toss everything to coat. I'm frying this chicken in 2 batches so that the fry pot doesn't get too crowded. Now, once these pieces are evenly coated, I'm gonna finish them one at a time by crumbling some moistened starch onto both sides. Then I'm gonna carefully pass them back and forth and press down the breading into the meat and shake off any excessive bits of starch. This last step where I'm kind of hand breading and squeezing is really important. If you just toss the chicken and throw it on a sheet tray, that's not gonna get enough stuff stuck to it. And once I've got all these chickens breaded up, I'm gonna take this plate over to the stove where my oil has been preheated to 325F. From here, I'll use my spider to carefully drop this chicken into the oil. The spider helps keep any hot oil splashes far away from my hands. And after 20-30 seconds, I'm gonna come back and nudge this chicken very carefully to make sure that it's not sticking to each other or the bottom of the pot. Don't agitate it too soon because the starch on the outside won't be set and you'll probably remove a lot of the breading when you move things around. Now, after 2.5 minutes, this chicken has taken on some very light browning, so I'm gonna take it out of the fryer and drop it onto a wire rack to drain for about 1 minute. This allows the potato starch to set and absorb any resting juices that might be dripping out of the meat. From here, I'm gonna very briefly fry this chicken 2 more times to get an extreme level of crispiness. The second time I'll fry for 90 seconds or until I've reached this mid tier of browning. Then I'll scoop it out and move it back over to my wire rack and rest it again for 1 minute. After that minute, I'm gonna drop this chicken back into the oil a third time and fry it for 90 more seconds. During this last fry, any remaining moisture that's on the meat or in the breading is gonna be fried off, and we should be left with a ludicrously brittle and crispy exterior. Personally, I think the chicken is done when it starts to turn this reddish brown color. That's when it crosses over from being kind of crispy to moaning out loud crispy. Now, once I've got this chicken out of the fryer draining on a wire rack, I'm gonna move the sheet tray over to my oven to stay warm at 200F while I dredge and fry the other half of my chicken. That should take about 6 to 8 minutes or so. And once I've got all this chicken crisped up, it's time to serve it. To do that, I'll drop some very finely shredded cabbage onto a plate with some chicken, some spicy mayonnaise, and a lemon to bring a little bit of acidity. You guys, this is the perfect party food. It stays crispy for a long time, it's fun, it's social, and it's gluten-free. This recipe is basically exactly the same as the chicken that I ate in several places in Japan, and the good news for you is that it can be easily replicated in an American kitchen. So I hope you try it soon.
Sweet, sweet Lord. If that doesn't make you happy, nothing will.